The story of Raphael Lemkin is both fascinating and poignant, and it remained largely unknown to me until I delved into Samantha Power's Pulitzer Prize-winning book, A Problem from Hell. Throughout the two world wars, this remarkable man, born a Polish Jew, navigated a myriad of religious and ideological battlegrounds across multiple continents and nations. During his lifetime, the world gradually began to awaken from numerous isolated and paranoid enclaves, nations and villages, each with their own languages and customs. These linguistic barriers were once perceived as shields for nations, allowing them to distance themselves from one another and defend their unique identities. However, with the advent of radio, television and social media, we have come to view the world as a single entity, a communal village, a bustling multicultural tavern. The implications of this interconnectedness are already profound, especially as we face the advent of artificial intelligence. But that is a topic for another podcast.
Breaking news.
As a multilingual jurist, Lemkin was one of the early architects of international law, which aimed to transcend national sovereignty in holding individuals accountable for crimes against humanity. During the tumultuous aftermath of the two world wars, political leaders in various recognized nations faced little or no accountability for their egregious acts. As a linguist, Lemkin believed it was imperative to coin a term that would encapsulate the systematic extermination of people based on ethnic or religious identity. Thus, the term genocide was born. The Greek word genos means people, while the Latin cedere translates to killing. In 1989, he was posthumously honored with the Four Freedoms Award, a recognition rooted in the four freedoms articulated by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in his 1941 State of the Union address, and later enshrined in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. The accumulation of anger and fear within the human mind can gradually erode one's capacity for empathy. This erosion opens the door for sociopaths to draw others into their mass psychoses. It is my firm conviction that contemporary autocrats such as Trump, Musk and Putin have developed a psyche similar to that of historical figures like Hitler or Napoleon, leading their followers into the same realms of fear, anger and paranoia. The patriarchal epoch, characterized by men's dominance over their fellow human beings, particularly women, seems poised to intensify its grip, increasingly manifesting as a caricature of itself. Homo sapiens have, in increasingly complex and exponential ways, replayed behaviors akin to those of ostracized male primates who form new groups centered around their shared feelings of anger and fear. These discarded males engage in brutal acts, systematically eliminating all men from an existing troop, and then selectively deciding which women and children to spare for servitude. As noted, the scale and intensity of these actions have only escalated in our so-called enlightened industrial and technological age. The act of labeling these atrocities as genocide, alongside the establishment of human rights, the four freedoms, international law and the United Nations, often appears to carry less weight than the iconic three monkeys on my grandparents' mantelpiece. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Against the backdrop of mafioso and Machiavellian practices inherent in our patriarchal systems, these three monkeys still dominate the narratives across nearly every continent, transcending various religions and ideologies. For instance, Trump is preparing to perpetrate a form of genocide against his own population, methodically eroding the four freedoms from beneath their feet without their awareness. He seems poised to instigate new conflicts on multiple fronts: trade, social media, and military operations. Meanwhile, Musk appears intent on orchestrating a collective suicidal leap toward Mars, all the while exacerbating suffering on Earth in his relentless search for resources for space exploration. Putin lulls his populace into complacency, enveloping them in a fog of fear, anger and paranoia, while simultaneously producing a brutal machinery of oppression within his own borders. His actions propel his nation and much of Europe back into a discourse of war, be it hybrid or conventional, that many had hoped was long forgotten. The indictments of genocide can be attributed to every side of the political spectrum, religious or otherwise. Each faction is equally capable of wielding this label, suggesting that there truly exists no singular side in this human conflict. The solutions to these issues often elude us, existing in a realm rarely discussed because our collective knowledge and skills fall short. How can we dispel the fear, anger and paranoia that reside within each of us after millennia of addressing them with ineffective words, fleeting beliefs, superficial philosophies and empty religious dogmas? Up to this point, none of these approaches have provided meaningful insight or utility in understanding the intensities of fear, anger and paranoia that simmer in our minds. Social media is not the root of these issues. Rather, it serves as fuel on a fire that has long been burning in our hearts. The fears currently surfacing within us have been buried for ages and may finally be rising as a last warning sign for each of us. Is there a way out? I believe our species possesses the capability to resolve this deep-seated affliction, but it demands a comprehensive and transformative new approach. This path exists, yet it is not rooted in reason or rationality. Instead, it requires a fundamental shift in how we confront our collective emotional turmoil. The madness of fear, anger and paranoia still grips much of humanity, threatening the very foundations upon which we hope to build a secure future for our children. In acknowledging this, we must strive for solutions that transcend mere discussion. Solutions that embrace genuine awareness of your own emotional illiteracy and unity as we navigate this deeply ingrained challenge. The exit is there, but I worry that the level of craziness stemming from fear, anger and paranoia in most of us isn't quite high enough yet for us to build a solid future for our kids. The path exists, but it's certainly not paved with reason. We, the emotional therapists, are ready to help you manage that whirlwind in your brain once you have reached this boiling point. To make Earth great again, each of us only needs to turn our low self-esteem into the confidence to become world citizens with equal opportunity to flourish. Our autistic-like fear of change needs to ascend to a level of high adaptability in order to lead the way for generations to come. Do we love Earth and our children enough to put ourselves to this test? That is the question.